So Bronx, like what kind of like upbringing you had? Like just in terms of that led to like that kind of lifestyle. Like was there anything like in your like family growing up that kind of you think might have contributed to that or that was just like people you were hanging out with?
Um, well, I grew up with just my mom's and my grandmother and my sister. You
Hmm.
know, my dad left my mom's when I was one back in Jamaica, and so we moved to New York when I was six. And so, I didn't really have a father, didn't really have a father figure growing up. Um, like a lot of my friends didn't have fathers, in the house.
Mm.
All right.
Um, I had one good friend, Maine, he had both parents, and his dad was cool. But like I grew up to like be envious of
Hmm.
like, people with like both parents. I remember one year my mom's had because we used to go back to Jamaica every year for like 2 weeks in the summer. And so like one year, we were supposed to go down there. My mom sent word to my dad to let him know that I wanted to meet him. I think I was in elementary school. And so I was always curious about that side of my family. And so like Jamaica's a big island, but it's a small island too. Everybody knows everybody who knows somebody, you know what I'm saying? And so we went down there and we went to where he worked and we stayed there for a couple of hours. He never showed up. And so that was kind of, crushing.
Mm.
I remember I told my mom and I was like, when I meet him, I'm gonna spit in his face and we're gonna go for what we know. And I told her, I promise you I'm not gonna lose. And I was in elementary school,
Wow.
and and so I just kept that hatred, because I went through a lot of stuff that I think that I never could have or I never should have went through if I had a dad to protect me. You know what I'm saying?
All
Like my
right.
Mm.
a lot, my grandmother worked a lot, so a lot of stuff, was out on the block. You know what I mean? And so a lot of stuff that I learned from the dudes on the block, and they learned from they trauma base. And so,
Mm.
I learned the trauma base and, it just kept multiplying. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. Okay.
Did you
Wow.
did you join the Marine Corps to try to get out of that type of environment? I know for me, joining the Navy was to try to get out of that environment. Was that kind of the same for you joining the Marine Corps?
Sort of, kinda. I just didn't have no plans. I wasn't going to college because I didn't think I could make it. Um, I barely made it through high school. And so I had no plans. And so like the Marines, it was just and then I love the commercials that they had. They had like the best commercials back in the 90s.
A few good
So
men,
I was
right?
like, yeah.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna fly jets. I needed to go to college to fly jets. You know what I'm saying? But I was terrified of college. You know, yeah. And so I didn't want to end up on the block. I was tired of that life. I wasn't the worst kid out there, but I wasn't the best neither.
Mm. Okay.
So how was your experience in the Marines? Was it what you expected or was it different from what you expected in any way?
I went in there with no expectation.
Mm.
Remember, like when you first go there, like the first week, they're kind of indoctrinating you into like marching and putting on your uniform and everything. So it's kind of laid back. So I'm like, yo, this is good, you know. But like after that first week, when you meet your drill instructors, oh my gosh,
Mm.
my mom's and I was like, y'all think I made a mistake?
Mm.
Yeah, it's like a culture shock, like because they got to break you of you and build
Mm.
to how they want you to be. And so
Yeah.
in part, having New York, you got to be tough. You know what I'm saying? You can't break. And so that breaking it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. But like now that I look back, I'm grateful for it. But when I was going through, there was some days I was just like, yo.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
I'm curious. So you're in the Marines, right? And then you said you went to jail after you got out of the
yeah,
Marines, right?
yeah,
So because I always hear things about the armed forces, like they straighten you out, and a lot of single moms will co-sign their boys going to the
right.
armed forces because they feel like it's going to give them structure, it's going to give them discipline. So can you kind of walk us through? I guess what I'm asking is how did you go from the Marines to jail? Like where was the disconnect, or where was the break, I guess, is what I'm curious about.
Well, like the Marines, it does give you structure, but like you gotta think, what are they training us to do? You know, train us, you know what I'm saying? And you know, when I was getting out, it's like they teach you how to, you know, survive in combat, but they don't really teach you how to adjust when you get back to the civilian world. You know, like I'm out here, and you know, my mentality, like what I had on the block when I was coming up, it never went nowhere. And so, you know, I still had the hatred for my dad. I still had the hot temper. I still, you know, I still had all of that. And so, you know, yeah, it gave me structure. Taught me brotherhood, taught me to stay alive, you know. It taught me, you know, how to survive in that environment. But, you know, if my mentality didn't change. When I came back out on the block, I still had that same street mentality.
Oh wow. So it's not like Antwone Fisher when they send you to when they send you to therapy.
They don't have feel good reality shows. Reality,
yeah,
you know,
they got like that now. They got it now. Now they send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that never
they see how it was, you know.
Well,
so your anger. I'm sorry, Kenny. Your anger never played out while you were in the Marines.
It did.
Okay, and how did they deal with that?
That's what they train you for.
To be angry?
Yeah, you and to keep it under control.
Okay.